Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we are talking about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're continuing our run of doing all things X in reading order. So we're going to be looking today at X Factor number 3 from 1986. Somehow, when the digital version, they took out the number for some reason. The old logo is kind of cool. I know that the newer logo after that came out in issue 10 is a classic, but there's something about this old logo in in here. So I'm covering all things X-Men related. I started with Giant Size X-Men. I've covered just about 99% of everything up to now in reading order. So I've got Uncanny X-Men, I've got New Mutants, the Wolverine limited series. I've got now X Factor is in there. So I've got several playlists. So I have an X-Men playlist which just has the Uncanny X-Men. I have a New Mutants playlist which just has the New Mutants. And I've got the Wolverine, which has the limited series. I've got Kitty Pryde and the Wolverine. Everything that you could ever want for X-Men, but I have one called X Universe, which throws everything in there. The neat thing is everything is in reading order. There are over 130 videos as of this that are in that X Universe playlist. So check it out. As I mentioned, that it's all in reading order, so you can just start and um, if you've never seen all these things and kind of how it all fits together, check that out. So all right, as I mentioned before, X Factor number 3 from 1986 here. Great cover here by Ron Franz here. I am a big fan of Angel. I love these screen tones being applied here. But here we see here X Factor, and then we've got Artie, and we've got someone in a mummy wraps, which will be the Beast here. So, and then it looks like we have mandroids here. So, I'm like I mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of the Angel during this era here, and so Regression Obsession. Bob Layton is the writer. Jackson Guice does the pencil, and Josef Rubinstein on the end. So if you remember, we ended the issue with the Beast having a heart attack, but he managed Dr. Carl Maddox here managed to get him revived here, and you can see here from Flatline back to back alive here. So, all right, and so he needs to try and find a cure for mutations. Why? Because he's got a son that is a mutant, and here he's playing with his little kitty, and Artie has a power here, and he says if he could mind scan so he can see what's happening now. And of course, we see Tower here counting his money, and then kind of getting that recap as X Factor gets in and captures him. And he asks, Arthur, is this transpiring as we speak? And Artie is mute. He cannot talk. He nods and says, I know you don't like to do this, son, but father needs you to mind lock the bad man. If he talks, those people will come in and hurt us. And even little Muffin, you want them to hurt your kitty, would you? Of course not. So he does that. And so at the same time, we've the X Factor, or the sorry, they would be the exterminators when they're wearing their mutant gear. They capture Tower and they say start talking, and so Tower says, don't jerk me around, One Eye. You guys ain't the cops. What are you gonna do? Turn me in? Fat chance. If you want the blue furball, you're gonna have make a deal. My freedom for your friend. And Jean Grey. By the way, Cyclops is a jerk. Check out my reviews and commentary on issues 1 and 2. He's a huge jerk. So, um, Jean Grey thinks here, poor Hank, he might not even be alive at this point. If he is, our only hope of saving him is to bargain with this evil mutant. So, um, and so Cyclops tell the other two, we don't have other alternatives if we want to rescue the Beast. And Iceman says, but Cyclops, how do we know he'll tell the truth? And Cyclops says, we don't, but we can't turn over to the authorities without blowing our X Factor cover, can we? So, and then he's about to use her first name, but he doesn't. And he says, I know this doesn't sit well with you, but I'm afraid we're going to have to bargain with Tyra. He's our only hope, and she understands, everything for Beast. So Cyclops is like, all right, spill it out. And so he's about to, but suddenly you can see Artie's takes over, and he's in some kind of catatonic stasis. And Iceman is like, man, this is weird. Back at the laboratory, the dad tells him to continue with the mind lock, which he does. And so he's struggling. And so he is going to do another injection. Again, he's trying to cure the beast to see if that will be able to cure. But Artie just can't continue to hold him. And so he releases him. And X Factor's like, oh my god, everybody stand by for ready. Tower, what's going on? Can you speak? And he's like, give me a second. And he says, he's gonna kill the little freak. He means the kid. And so he goes here. The guy you're looking for is Dr. Carls Maddox. He runs a top secret research lab at Ryan Biochemical. He's got your boy down in the basement complex. You can try to bust your buddy out of that high security facility, but if you think your buddy's still in one piece, I wouldn't bet the farm on it. So, and so Towers being a jerk, they answer back, and Jean Grey says, "You're a mutant just like us. You have a duty and obligation to use your power to help your own kind. If if you'd only turn away from your mercenary behavior, we could work together to aid all mutant kinds. We could help. Join us and make amends for the wrongs you've done." And he's like, "Sweet cheeks." And so as he walks away, you gotta be freaking kidding, and he laughs. Um, so they're going away, and they ask, "So what's the plan?" And Cyclops says, "We find this lab and rescue McCoy, even if that means the end of X Factor." So, so in New York, we've got Vera, who we was introduced. She's an ex girlfriend of the Beast, and he asked to see if there's any progress on X Factor. Cameron says he does not, and she's like, she just feels helpless. And so this guy comes in and interrupts them, and so he goes in and meets this shady guy here. So this is a senator, that's Senator Thompson, and so he says, "I only wish that the circumstances were not so grave. My coming here is not without risk. I'm sure you'll realize the news of this were to leak." And Cameron says, "Rest assured, your seat with the Senate Committee on Mutant Affairs is safe. What do you have for me?" And he says, "I've agreed to help Warren because I was a good friend of his father and I sympathize with the mutant cause. But do any of you realize that X Factor may be doing more harm than good?" And so he's got this file here, and it says classified top secret. And so we're not being told what it is, but Artie is watching over Hank and touches him, and he gets the images of all these things, and then the pain, and then he goes with his kitty cat here. So, all right, outside X Factor has arrived here, and Angel kind of flew from above and gives them ideas. There's two possible entrances here. One's by the roof, and the other's in the south service door. Both look unguarded. And Jean says, "Well, let's do it then." And so Bobby Iceman says, "What's the plan?" And so, of course, he's going to split them. And He's gonna go with Angel to the top, and these two are gonna go take the service door. So the fence is electrified, and so Iceman's gonna do a bridge to get him over. Jean says no and uses her telekinetic powers instead. And Iceman's like, "Wow, her power is fantastic." And so the two of them make their way inside, and so while Cyclops and Angel go at the top. So as they're flying through, Angel realizes that the his company holds major stock in this company here. So of course they realize that they're not gonna go unnoticed here, and these guys see them here. So Cyclops uses his optic beam here, and they're gonna go inside. But so they weren't mandroids apparently. They're just kind of using the technology. Bob Layton is writing this, so remember that during this, right before this, Bob Layton and David Michelinie are going to take over Iron Man. So that hasn't happened yet. This is prior to Bob Layton returning to Iron Man. And so Cyclops and Angel have these guards here. And of course, these notices Jean Grey and Iceman here. So they're ground sensors. So they'll take off if they feel something. So, or not take off, they'll go off. And so she instead picks them up using her telekinetic power. If you remember, also, she no longer has her telepathic power. So everything is being done. Her telekinetic power has now gotten stronger here. And so Artie is scanning them and showing them. He creates projections here. So they're showing his dad. The doctor realizes that they're going to have to leave after this because he needs to complete the experiments. And then he's wondering about the beast here. He says, well, there's one final phase of the experiment left. I'm afraid we can't let him go just yet. Continue with your scans. And so he does. And so here, Marvel Girl drops Iceman here. She says, it's an electromagnetic lock mechanism, far too complicated for me to open telekinetically. And so Bobby says, then we'll have to use Plan B. And so Iceman's gonna take a look at it and use his ice power to make it brittle, and then she's able to use her telekinetic powers then to push it through here. So they're gonna go in. Meanwhile, Cyclops and Angel continue the fighting. So one of the things is, as you've noticed with X Factor, I'm kind of going the old school way of I was doing this. Instead of just reading along, I'm kind of just narrating part of the story. Part of it is because things are super wordy, and Bob Layton is very wordy. At least he was through this X Factor. So rather than taking 40 minutes to go through this, I'm hoping to be able to get it within 20 to 25 minutes here. So all right, so we saw that they were shooting, so they managed to get away, and they're gonna go up. And so Angel says, I can't believe we made it this far, not bad. And Cyclops says, don't kid yourself, we've only bought ourselves a few minutes. I only hope this all isn't in vain. And so, of course, they're being watched. And so you can see that there is stuff in the elevators, some gas here. And Cyclops says, Angel, quickly, maneuver 6. And so I love how they say this. So Angel's going to grab him here. And Cyclops uses his optic beams. So they drop down. Okay. And then Angel flies through this. And meanwhile, now I ain't sorry, Marvel Girl and Iceman get these Mandroid type villains. So um, Marvel Girl says, "Iceman, get the doors. I'll hold them off." And so he says, "There's a problem," and he says, "There's no elevator." And so she says, "Big deal. We don't need one." And she pushes him. Of course, she uses her telekinetic to hold him through. And they come here and they're like, "Sorry, we couldn't hold them here." So and this guy says, "Our job is to protect the top secret down here, and that's what we're gonna do. Get some rappling gear and form your men to shoot to kill if necessary." So they get down here, and so they're about to meet with Angel and Cyclops. So it looks like the team made it, and so now the search for the Beast begins. And so Cyclops says the door is too strong, but the wall is not. So inside, um, the doctor tells Artie, "Hey, we gotta go." Artie doesn't like what's been going on here, and he refuses to go along. And the father pleads with him. He's like, it's all been for you. I want you to be my normal little boy like you used to be. Your mother would have understood that. Please, son, come with me. Now, it'll all be over soon, and it says here, but the boy stands firm. He wants no part of this. Meanwhile, boom, nice panel here. I like Jackson Guice. Um, Although it's spelled like juice, goose. It almost sometimes. I When I was young, I thought it was Jackson Goose. But anyway, I like him. He's very he's what the would the word be? Efficient and reliable. So um and X Factor says, "Don't move, Middix. Where is he?" And so the Beast, bring him to me before I blast you to atoms. And Jean sees him, and it's like, "My dear Lord, it's Hank. Look what you've done to him. Thank heaven he's still alive." And Cyclops asks, "What happened to him, madman? What did you do?" And he says, "Please, no violence. I'll explain everything. Just don't harm my boy. The child has nothing to worry about, but unless you tell me what you've done to the Beast." And he says, "McCoy is in the second stage of cellular mutant regression. I've reversed the mutation process, made him human." "Oh no, why did you do it, man?" And he is going to explain. And so I'm not going to read all this. So he was working with McCoy to isolate the chemical cause of mutation. Um, Hank tried the serum, and he ended up becoming more beastly. And anyway, he stole that. He went to the criminal organization, who then shot him and left him for dead. This is so old school. He recovered, had his kid. His kid developed mutant powers, and so he wanted to continue, and that's when he hired Tower to get it. So see, saved reading all that and just kind of told you in just a few words. So Cyclops tells the team, "Go, and he'll handle the people." Jean is like, "We're not gonna let you sacrifice yourself," and he's like, "Don't argue, go." And so Artie gets a vision, and that they have reached the level, and he says, "We're all doomed now." And Cyclops asks, "What do you mean?" And he says, "This level is classified as top secret. They'll have orders to shoot to kill. They won't ask questions." And Cyclops says, "Can't you stop them?" And he says, "You don't understand. They won't listen. I've been conducting these experiments clandestinely. Once they find out, I'm finished." And so he tells them, "Take my kid. You gotta save him." And so they take Artie. I hope they took the cat too. And he says, "I failed again, and I know the price of failure all too well. Goodbye, my son." So they're running away. Of course, Artie gets an image, and he shoots at them. And sorry, not him, the doctor. And of course, they shoot back, killing him. And of course, Artie gets to see that himself. So We're now in New York at the X Factor headquarters, and we've got Scott Summers. If you're wondering if this is the first video you're looking at, and you're wondering why I'm calling him a jerk, feel free to refer to the first two issues of X Factor. Um, I love this part. Face it, Summers. Things go from bad to worse. My wife walks out on me without a trace. She walks out on him. He's the one that left. What the heck? What is Bob Layton? Is Bob Layton? Does he not know how marriage works? Maybe he's a single guy. Maybe Bob Layton's a single guy and he has no idea what marriage is like. Because what the hell, my man? And so, not that I blame her, he says. What the hell? Jean is becoming more and more suspicious of me, and now my best friend's lying in a coma. If only I knew what to do. Number one, he left, not Maddie. Number two, it's been weeks, and he still hasn't told Jean Grey that he's married. I've already lost Madeline. If I tell Jean the truth, well, I lose her as well. What the hell? And so Jean comes in and says, "It's time we had a talk, Mr. Summers. I'm too tired to beat around the bush." And Cyclops is like, "Jean, is it Hank? Has anything gone wrong?" He's like, "The specialist Cameron found is observing him around the clock. Arthur is sleeping finally. Scott, I know this is a bad time, but please stop evading my question. I want to know why you're so distant from me. Why aren't you with us watching Hank? Why do you insist on being alone?" And she says, "I love you. I've always have since we were children." And Scott is like, "Jean, perhaps it's time I." And of course, we're going to get an interruption because, hey, why not? And so we're going to get the big reveal here. So they're going to take away the Beast's mummy wraps. And he has returned to what he looked like in the beginning of not X Factor, in the beginning of the X-Men. Remember, the Beast created that thing that gave him his beastly look, but he was human always, or looked human, with just big hands and big feet. And so they've gotten rid of the beastie thing. So he's back to how he showed up in the very beginning. So that concludes X Factor number 3. Next issue, Trials and Errors. So X Factor number 3, written by Bob Layton and penciled by Jackson Guice. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.